They laughed at him the day he walked into that room. Not a quiet chuckle. Not a hidden smirk. Real laughter, loud, sharp, and cutting. The kind that sticks with you long after the moment is over. He stood there, holding a worn-out folder, his shoes slightly dusty, his voice steady, but his heart quietly breaking. What they didn't know was this: time has a strange way of flipping stories. And kindness. Kindness never forgets. Before we dive in, take a second to support the channel. If stories like this move you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. You're watching Kindness Story Hub, where every story reminds us that small actions can change lives. Now, let's begin. Ethan Cole wasn't the kind of man people noticed. He lived in a small town just outside Denver, Colorado. Nothing fancy. Just quiet streets, friendly neighbors, and the same grocery store everyone had been going to for years. Ethan worked 2 jobs, one as a janitor at a downtown office building, and another delivering food in the evenings. Life wasn't easy, but he never complained. Every morning, he woke up before sunrise, made himself a cup of cheap coffee, and wrote in a small notebook. Dreams. Ideas. Plans. Because Ethan had one big dream. He wanted to start a community center. Not for profit. Not for fame. Just a place where kids from struggling families could come after school, stay safe, get help with homework, and feel like they mattered. He had seen too many kids fall into trouble. Too many broken homes. Too many chances lost. And he believed, even if no one else did, that he could make a difference. One afternoon, after months of saving and planning, Ethan finally gathered enough courage to take his idea to a local business investment group. They met in a sleek glass building downtown. The kind of place where everything looked expensive, and everyone looked like they belonged, except Ethan. He wore his cleanest shirt. It was still a little faded. As he walked into the room, conversations paused. Someone whispered. Another person smirked. And then, when he introduced his idea, the laughter started. You want funding for a free center, one man said, leaning back in his chair. With what experience? Another added. Ethan swallowed. I may not have business experience, but I've spent years working with people. I know what the community needs. Oh, we know what you need, a woman interrupted with a laugh. A reality check. The room filled with quiet chuckles. Ethan stood there, feeling smaller by the second. But he didn't yell. He didn't argue. Instead, he nodded politely, thanked them for their time, and walked out. That evening, he sat on a bench outside the building. For a moment, he stared at his notebook. Then slowly, he opened it. And wrote one line. They laughed. But I'll build it anyway. The next few months were hard. Actually, harder than anything Ethan had faced before. Without funding, he had to start from nothing. He used his savings to rent a small, abandoned storefront on the edge of town. The windows were cracked. The walls needed paint. The floor creaked with every step. But Ethan didn't see a broken space. He saw potential. After his janitor shifts, he would come there and clean for hours. Scrubbing floors. Fixing lights. Painting walls with leftover paint people donated. Sometimes, he worked until midnight. Sometimes, he skipped meals to save money for supplies. But he never stopped. One night, while he was painting a wall, a young boy peeked through the door. "Is this a store?" the boy asked. Ethan smiled. "Not exactly. It's going to be a place for kids." "What kind of place?" "The kind where you can come after school. Do homework. Hang out. Feel safe." The boy hesitated. "Can I come?" Ethan nodded. "You'll be the first." That boy's name was Marcus. He came the next day. And the day after that. Soon, he brought a friend. Then another. Within weeks, Ethan had 5 kids showing up every afternoon. The space wasn't perfect. There were only a few chairs, a donated table, and some old books. But something special was happening. The kids felt it. They weren't just passing time. They were being seen. Ethan helped them with homework, listened to their problems, encouraged them to dream bigger. One girl, Lily, struggled with reading. She would get frustrated and want to quit. Ethan never rushed her. "Take your time," he would say gently. "You're doing better than you think." Weeks later, she read a full page without stopping. Her smile. It said everything. Word started to spread. Parents noticed changes in their kids. Teachers noticed better grades. Neighbors noticed laughter coming from that once abandoned place. People began to donate old books, chairs, even snacks. It wasn't much. But it was enough. 2 years passed. What started as a small room had grown into something bigger. Ethan was able to expand into the space next door. Then another. Volunteers joined. Local teachers offered free tutoring sessions. A retired chef started teaching cooking classes. And for the first time, Ethan hired 2 part-time staff members. The center now had a name. The Bridge. Because that's what it became, a bridge between struggle and hope. One afternoon, Ethan received an email. It was from the same investment group that had laughed at him. They wanted to visit. The day they arrived, everything looked different from the last time they saw Ethan. The building was lively. Kids were reading, laughing, learning. Walls were filled with colorful art. There was energy in the air. Real impact. The same men who had mocked him before walked in slowly, looking around in silence. You built this?" he asked. Ethan nodded. "With no funding. Just help from the community," Ethan said. The men cleared his throat. "We'd like to discuss a partnership." Ethan looked at him calmly. Not with anger. Not with pride. Just quiet understanding. "I appreciate that," he said. "But we're doing just fine." That moment wasn't about revenge. It wasn't about proving them wrong. It was about something deeper. They laughed when he needed support. But others showed kindness when it mattered. And that kindness built something stronger than money ever could. Years later, the Bridge became one of the most respected community programs in the region. Kids who once came for help were now volunteering. Marcus, the first boy who walked through that door, graduated college. He came back, as a mentor. "Because someone believed in me," he said. And Ethan. He never changed. Still humble. Still kind. still writing in his notebook every morning. Because here's the truth. People will doubt you. Some will laugh. Some will walk away. But kindness stays. Kindness grows. Kindness comes back in ways you never expect. So if you've ever been laughed at, if you've ever felt small, if someone made you think your dreams don't matter, remember Ethan. Keep going. Stay kind. Build anyway. Because one day, time will tell your story. And trust me, it won't sound like laughter anymore. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs a reminder today. This is Kindness Story Hub, and your story of kindness might be the one that changes everything.